This party started. So as you can see here on the monthly, relatively unchanged. We did have a smaller pullback. We finished at 90, closed yesterday 74, so a little bit of a pullback. Still maintaining above the previous month's high, which is that 42.38 half, that level that we talked about yesterday. Right, still pretty decently above it. You can kind of see right where our SR flip is at. We do kind of have an equilibrium. We can go ahead and actually remove this because it's just kind of in the way at this point. But we do kind of have an equilibrium moving up. We had talked about this previous equilibrium where we'd been seeing a lot of bars end and begin. Well, we're kind of seeing that here, and that happens to be roughly around this like 4190 to 4200-ish level. Right, we could call it like 4190 here, 4191 here, and then 4194 here. So 94 to 90, we'll call it. That's kind of that next equilibrium level. If the market did get a liquidation and pull back, that could be a level that we would see that maybe it pull back or would pull back to for support. We kind of have a little bit of an equilibrium up here as well. That's a lot higher, so we're not really too worried about that. But for the most part, relatively unchanged here on the monthly. Switching over to the weekly here, we can see we're still one time framing up. We're back inside the previous week's range. This is kind of letting us know that the market maybe got a little bit ahead of itself. I don't necessarily think that there's been this kind of huge change in the market as far as trend or anything like that, right? The trend is still moving higher. We're making higher lows. We're making higher highs. We're getting close up here to this level, which was that 27 half, 43.27 half. But relatively unchanged here as far as the weekly goes. Switching over to the daily now, we can see we're really just kind of in this tight little balance. A 3-day balance here. If you're a technician, right? Maybe a little bit of a flag starting to form here, but that's not really something that I trade off of, but that's just kind of an observation. We still have this gap below, still kind of indicating to us that old business needs to get taken care of first before new business can be conducted. Right, so we still have this gap here below. We do have a lot of weak references starting to develop, and so a liquidation break could be kind of severe if there is a rather big liquidation. Right, we have this weak low / poor low that's here. This is kind of a weak low, and then this whole area right here is kind of a weak low with that gap still down below as well. So there's some weak references, at least structurally below. Not to try to get everyone too bearish, but just to maintain perspective. We also do have a weak high here / poor highs from that Monday session, and so we'll take a closer look at that when we jump here onto the profiles. Excuse me, my allergies are bothering me today. So as we can see here, the profiles, you can see the poor low from yesterday / weak low because it's at a very mechanical level, right? Basically, the low from yesterday was 69.25, the T1 low 68 half, so 3 ticks apart there. And then we have the high from yesterday, the 475, and then a point higher from the T2 high, which was a poor high, so another weak high up here, kind of indicating that both sides are relatively weak. A little review from yesterday here. We basically got a liquidation all day. We did leave some mechanical levels behind. This level up at the top, right, we fixed it. It was a mechanical level. It had been fixed, and it put out another mechanical level at the same spot, kind of indicating that maybe short-term sellers are kind of in control up here in this balance, and so might be better to lean on some of those sell the rallies until you actually see some breakout or a fix of that poor high up there. Um, you know, that was kind of part of the plan yesterday, was to sell this area up here. Not that I did, but it was just part of the plan. I just had been a little bit more patient, um, and just kind of stayed real tight yesterday. Didn't really take a lot of longer trades yesterday, to be honest. Um, we do have a couple of weak references here, right? You get kind of a couple weak references near that 82.80 level. And then remember 87 being the big level from yesterday, where we saw that size seller really kind of come down underneath of the 90, which has been kind of the point of control for this balance, and shove the market lower into this lower distribution here. So if we were to like kind of do a little double distribution up in this upper distribution, that's where we would kind of draw the line. And so as far as today goes, oh, and then one more thing, we just have this B shape from yesterday, kind of indicating that most of the move lower was on liquidation from longs, right? So maybe profit taking up here, and without excess on the low, that's kind of an indication that we really didn't get any sellers moving down. So maybe this seller came from the 87, which was kind of that initial balance low, sold, caused these longs to liquidate, but really wasn't willing to move lower to continue the move down, and it was just fine letting them liquidate until to collect their position. So as they move up, right, if you think about this here, as the price moves up, longs that are stuck above the 87 decide, you know what, I've got to take profit, or maybe even old business longs that are long from lower, they start to take profit. And so what do? They become sellers, right? And so someone takes the other side of that, they start selling this down, and the market is unable to get any upside because there's really no buying. So the most of the buying would be caused just by, you know, lack of supply, and most of the selling yesterday was just old business. So we really can't deduct anything, as we have like two P-shaped profiles, even though this one doesn't really count, but we kind of have a P shape indicating some shorts got covered, and then also after the shorts got covered, a liquidation probably from old business.
Hey,
So
Brad, I
going
had a
into,
question for that screen real quick.
yeah,
Um, so like we're kind of in like a balance zone, right? Like you could say like a 3-day balance almost.
yeah,
But like
definitely.
inside this balance, you can clearly see like the value area shifting down, and you can see like the point of control shifting down. And I was just curious if that you know so much more about the profile and like the stuff from the book. I didn't know if that gave you any. Is that stuff that Jim like talks about or anything?
So we see like the move higher here, and we kind of settle around this 90 level. Then we get the volume coming in at the low, and this day was kind of like a P and then a B. This first day, we kind of had short covering up here and then liquidation, and then the next day we had just basically short covering all day, and then next day we have liquidation. So as far as like the point of control migration, we are seeing it shift a little bit downwards. Like if we slowly kind of put these together, we see it's here, and then we see it still at the same spot, and then we see it still at the same spot. So we really haven't moved it lower. We are starting to build a little bit more value down lower. We're just not seeing that volume. But if we do see that volume, right, and get that point of control migration, and where I'm thinking is that this 80 level is basically, I mean, that's pretty much lining up here. If we zoom out a little bit, so we could see how many TPOs wide we are here at the 80. We're 20 TPOs wide here at the 80, and we're 23 at the 90. So there's good odds that we do get that POC migration lower. And that would kind of tell us that volume is moving lower off of the highs. And so if we start to hang out below that level, that starts to become increasingly more bearish, right? As long as it's below. One thing, a little caveat off of that is if we do see this point of control shift lower to this 80, but the market is holding it as support, then that would kind of tell us, I mean, almost kind of confirm what we're seeing here with this failure to move lower. Because we're getting a failure to move lower and a failure to move higher, right? We're really just balancing, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And so if we do see that point of control move lower, but the market gets above, then we can kind of assume that these lower prices are shutting off selling and that buyers are kind of stepping up. And if they start to hold that 80 as support, then we can kind of expect that point of control there, that the current point of control for the balance, the 90, to kind of jam in there. If we only did these 3 days here, we have the point of control at the 80. So, you know, that can be kind of the resistance that for now, um, and that's kind of what we're thinking, right? A test of that 80. That's kind of what I'm thinking today. Is if we do get any upside, we'll really be looking for this 80 to kind of act as resistance. And if it doesn't act as resistance, then we want to see it act as support to go back and test that 90 level. And that's kind of what I'm looking for today. With where's the reset? As far as like the range of them, we're not really seeing like too much change. Like a 10 point of control change is, it would be more significant if we got something like this where you're not just seeing kind of like old business profiles, I guess, right? Because this was like short covering into a liquidation. This was literally just short covering, and then this was just liquidation. So more or less old business. We're not really seeing any like new buyers show up in the market, or new sellers. We're not really seeing any new players show up in the market. Everyone's just kind of like hands off until, you know, probably until next week when we have the Fed meeting. It'll get a little bit more active. Um, but we're just not really seeing that. So I really don't pay much attention to it until we start to see a move. Um, and typically that would come if we get like kind of a break. Like if we break this low here and we start to see, right, because we do have this lower distribution here, and we start to see volume come in strong down here, well, that would kind of indicate that we're going to test this gap.
Yeah.
But it's not really, as far as it is right now, it's just not really giving us anything, and especially because they're only 10 points apart, it's just not really giving us anything.
Cool.
Now
Appreciate it.
if yesterday, yeah, for sure, if yesterday was more of like a trend day, even if we, well, even if we just didn't finish as a B shape, right? If we just kind of like slow, even if the range was the same, but we just kind of slowly trended lower, right, and volume shift down, especially below that 80, then I would kind of expect, you know, you would kind of see that as, okay, well, maybe sellers took over control and now they're slowly moving the market down. But really, it just kind of looked like old business yesterday, and then most of the volume came in pretty much right at the end of the day. So, but as far as today goes, really that 80 level is kind of what I'm looking at. I'm looking at to either get above and hold, and then start targeting that 87/90 level where that volume's at. If there's no rejection off there, then we'll be targeting that poor high. If we do get the rejection off the 80, we'll be targeting this week low. If this week low breaks with some volume, start to get accepted, you know, a nice rotation that fails to get back inside the previous day's range, be targeting this gap down here, especially as the market starts to hold below this 68 level. That's kind of the level where I have kind of the low of my distribution is around that 68 level. So you start this next distribution, get acceptance, and then start to target the other side of that distribution. Above the 80, if we just kind of get above the 80 and start dancing in between here, I expect it to be pretty choppy and kind of more of a hands-off situation. I'd like to see it either get above the 80, go straight to the 90 like a magnet, or get above that 90 and try along from there. Um, it'll definitely depend on how the market acts. We did see big sector rotation yesterday, right? A little risk off, as most of the sectors yesterday that were green were like energy, real estate, all the smaller sectors, whereas tech got beat up pretty good. Um, so that'll be something that we want to see today. Are they going to get some rotation back into tech? If the rotation back into tech today is strong, then I think we have good odds of getting above that 90. If it's fairly weak, then we probably want to be more of a fader back inside this balance point of control. Balance rules will be in play today, and remember that we want to go with the break of balance. The first thing we monitor on a break of balance is for continuation. And so and you can kind of see on the DOM here, I have the distributions basically broken up when we're at the low of a previous distribution. So it becomes like an optimal time to buy the market here, at a higher risk, right? And there's some opportunity to buy the market here as a at a higher risk, but acceptance really back inside this white range kind of, almost figures the downside, and that 4260 seems to be, maybe 4252 even, kind of seems like the target to the downside. So that 52 down here close to that gap, and that 60 a little bit below that Globex low would kind of seem like the gap if we start to accept underneath of that 69, 68 area. Opportunity to definitely sell here, 73. I'd like to wait a little bit higher, maybe try that 80. There's definitely some opportunity here to fade it out. Obviously some opportunity to buy the low of the distribution if it is able to hold. But like I said, I'd like to see it hold. I'd like to see it hold maybe like 75. And then that'd be a decent level to try up into the 80. So we're pretty much right there. You see a little bit of a seller here. But that's kind of, that's kind of what we're looking for today. We're going to be open up inside yesterday's range, so probably a little bit choppy. I wouldn't be surprised to see a nice opening drive that trades below and says, hey, if you guys want to sell it, now's your chance, and see if some sellers show up down here below this 69, 68 level. And if they do, then we should be able to take a nice ride down towards that 52. In 52, you've got like 63 and 52, 63 to 60, and then like 52 to 54 are kind of the levels I have down below. That's pretty much it. If they fail to move lower, then we can kind of expect that 90 to be the next ticket. Morning, Nikki. Morning, Roach. Morning, Thomas. Morning, John. Morning, Doped. Morning, Tobias.
Morning, Brad.
Morning, Dad. Like up or down with outside value area. What do you mean, Doped? I think in order for it to go back up, it has to go down first. Anyways, like it needs to fix that structure here at this low in order to trade back up. the thing is, that's not, it doesn't have to happen, because if there's no selling down here and they can't get the market below yesterday's low or below that week low, we're in kind of that situation that we were a few weeks ago, right? Where they did this, I mean, a very similar structural inefficiency here, right? Weak low, poor low. We got here, market traded up, traded back down to that same spot, still couldn't break it, put in another poor low, and then traded up, another poor low, traded up. So just a lack of supply overall. Um, so not necessarily that we have to do it. It would be stronger if we did. It would more indicate that a buyer is stepping up to buy these higher prices and give us a little bit more confidence that we are going to trade up to that 43.25 level rather than just you know, short covering. Morning, Gringo. There's our open. Real tight range to start us off. Took a long here, 72 quarter. Actually 72.75. I got filled. Offer trying to come in around this 72 quarter, but keeps getting stuck, it looks like. Another offer trying to come in 73 half, gets stuck. Took one off at 75. Their offer trying to come in here at this 74, 75. Bids coming in here at this 74, 75. And they're able to get some upticks there. So to me, that seems a little bit bullish. Another one off here at 76. Nice little trade to start the session here. Tick is pretty neutral here. Breath is pretty neutral. Sector boxes are pretty much all green. We're coming back down here a little bit. I flattened out that last one here, but might have to add it back on. The 75 looks like it might hold as support here. Let's take a peek. Nvidia trading a little bit lower here. So NASDAQ doing? NASDAQ coming back down here through its open, so a little bit of weakness here. Maybe not. We'll just be careful here. We had some stuck shorts down at like 73, 72-ish area. See if these shorts get stuck here. Decent rebid of this level here, but not really any upticks. You see a lot of trades come in, but not really a ton of upticks there. Our offers trying to come in strong here, like 74.5.
Yeah, I think buyers need to run this up like now. They're going to get stuck.
Yeah, it looks like sellers are trying their hearts out.
Yeah, look, every once in a while it looks like the bid pops, but then gets smashed by the ask. When you say sellers get trapped, how do you see sellers getting trapped? They just those, because I don't really have a good view of it.
So like when you see like something like this, like kind of what just happened here, when you see like a move lower, like a point or more of a move lower, where you see some actual volume come in and then immediate bounces up, and that's kind of these sellers getting stuck. And it's the same way on the buy side, right? Like these buyers here on the 75. Oh, it took, oh man. I only had 2 lots. They're both out though. The last one closed at 76.75. I thought I had a third lot on. Fucking rookie. Anyways, but you're kind of seeing like, you know, when you see like these larger numbers, I'm really only looking for like either like 200 and above. Even then, it's still kind of, you know, wishy-washy, and you want to see like the reaction off of it. So we can say like if this moves down here to the 75, we would say these 77 on the 77, these buyers are stuck. Right? You've got a couple hundred buyers that moved up to buy the market, especially when it's near a high, and weren't able to take it up. And now we're trading, you know, 2 points lower, so they're probably stuck. And then you're seeing this bid here, 400 bid. It buys the market and it's able to uptick, so we can assume this is a real buyer here. And then it comes back down to the same spot, rebids 250 right there, but this time it's not able to uptick, and so we can kind of assume, right, offer came in initially where these buyers got stuck, offer comes down 76, and now an offer is coming down 75. You're seeing strong buying, almost 500 lots here or over 500 lots here, but yet no upticks. So you've got like, you know, 700 lots that trade, and they go down tick. So just letting us know that maybe the selling's a little bit stronger than the buying right here at the 75. I wouldn't consider them stuck yet, but you know, typically as you get past like some of these big levels, like you see the 72 where that big buyer showed up, and then there's 300 lots, and we've been just hanging out above that 72 for a while now. That these guys probably covered their short there, and they reoffered a little bit higher. It really like the more you watch it, the better the grasp on it that you'll get. Because you're just using this really to track the inventory. So you see all this volume kind of start to stack here from like 73 to 72. And 72 is where we saw the kind of the bounce from, where 73 is where it looked like they covered. Now you're seeing 500, 500 go down tick, letting us know that the selling is still persistent. So they've started the offer from 77 and then continued all the way down here to 73. They're trying to continue to offer it below 72. And so now it becomes the point where if you get 700 like that 71.75 goes trades on the bid, but it goes up tick, but there's a buyer there as well. So now if you start to see where you should see the reoffer here at this 74 where we saw it before, if you don't see it, you see buyers show up, you are seeing it here. But if you weren't to see it there and you see buyers show up, then we can kind of assume that that guy that's short 700 contracts at 71.75 is going to start to get a little bit nervous and start to short cover, and we can play off of him as a stop, right? So we know if we get back below him, then good chances of continuation to the downside. But if he can't offer enough contracts to get back to break even, then he's going to have to cover, because that's a large amount of contracts to be stuck. And now he's 2 points above, and 2 points on 713 contracts is a pretty decent amount. Not that it's all one person, but if you view it like that, it kind of makes it easier to start assuming. We don't want to assume anyone's contract size here. Yeah. Uncle said one of the bots is in a call, one of the bots is in a put. Does that make sense then?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it sucks because on Ninja you really don't have that availability.
Yeah, I don't have
really.
that. That's why looking at your screen, unfortunately, I don't have Wi-Fi at the house yet, so I'm running it off of
The hotspot.
yeah, I have and you'd plug it in and then it connects, but it's like a 5G Wi-Fi. It's not real fast.
So if they pop this 75, you saw a decent reoffer come in there. Not able to get as much ground as they wanted, I don't think. If you see them pop the 75, that we should make a new high and probably head up to that 80 this time. Ooh, decent offer came even lower there, 74. Remember, the short's stuck on 71, and so this is basically him trying to offer this thing below that to get below that 71 to offer it to actually get some downside. 72 is the VWAP. Yeah, just about. There it goes. So he gets it below the 71, and you see some continuation there. Bang, 70. Yep. A lot of volume coming in down here, so it looks like they want to keep reoffering lower. So we break that previous low, another mechanical low, people buying right off that. The one tick shy of the T2 low there. They want to reoffer this 70 half here. Seeing the weighted AD start to get real negative, and now you're seeing unweighted start to lead the way down here. You start to get acceptance below this 68. I think there's definitely some decent opportunity to the downside.
God damn it. Fucking pen.
$68.8. They're reoffering the 67 pretty decent here. Morning, Steve. Morning, Zoe. So you see here, you get 1,000 lots here traded on that 67. So they reoffered that 67 pretty decent, and they've got this 700 lots down here that they need to kind of unlock. So if you get above, if you're short, you really don't want to see this market get above this 67 half. If it does, you probably short cover back to the offer. 70. Triple stochastics down. What does that mean? Nice. So little scalp there off the bottom. Oh, sometimes bounce. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. You get those big size orders that come in, and then if they can't get any movement, then typically they have to bounce to try to reoffer. That 69 half 70 area was kind of the area where we see that previous offer come in at. So you kind of expect them to try to reoffer that level. And if they don't reoffer that level and you keep seeing these shorts get stuck like you're seeing here, it starts to kind of build up, and then you start looking back inside yesterday's range here. You're getting this mechanical selling off of yesterday's low. Well, not really a big sign of strength there. Decent volume still coming in. Selling off the T2 low, or selling off the T1 low. So now's like buyers' chance here. They've identified some short time frame traders, and if buyers can't take this thing back up to the weak spot above that 70 half, then they've probably lost it like fucking Top Gun. They've lost that love and feeling, now it's gone, gone, gone. Ooh. Hey,
Dun 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 dun
I
dun
just go
dun
fuck
dun
myself.
dun 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 dun. Oh baby.
$42.65 red. Yeah, so I mean, it's really just like a battle here between sellers to try to keep it below balance, which is basically 68, and buyers want it above that 70 half, where that stronger seller came in to kind of force the market down and cause the liquidation. The buyers seem to be responding pretty well here. Resistance is like 73. Big, same as the big resistance from yesterday as well. 73 was a big level. Sellers are looking to sell this breakout, it seems like. Got a little bit of a pop, but then a pretty quick rejection there. Below 67 quarter, they should be able to get some more downside. If they can get there. If they can't get there, then they're just going to be getting stuck again at the lows. There they go. Offers trying to come in here. Nice. I think their first target down. Damn, they're just struggling here. They can break is going to be the 61 level. We do have wholesale inventories at 10, so in about 4 minutes. It's kind of a medium topic, I guess. You're seeing some short covering accompanied by some stronger bids here on the way back up. And if they really start to kind of hold back inside yesterday's range, especially as B period gets ready to open up here. I know value's right at the low here, but it's kind of like a little check below balance and fail. This other, we have a kind of a double distribution, so B period should help us decide, and really that open being the key level. One thing we definitely want to note is we're getting kind of the opposite of yesterday, right? The opposite of yesterday when we had a positive tick, right? So there was basically all the buying, but it was just slowly kind of trickling down, and our weighted was positive and our unweighted was extremely positive. Our weighted was negative, but our unweighted was extremely positive. And so we're kind of getting this unweighted extremely negative, and the weighted is kind of trying to go positive. And here we are almost back at the open now. This is kind of you see like a little ledge kind of forming here to kind of protect the open. 2 minutes until the next period. I'm gonna have to be taken off here pretty soon because I have his appointment this morning. $55, okay. It is 70 half. This is going to be a key level 70 half. Buyers need to try to press this thing back above the open. I think 73.5. There's the offer. That was where the offer was at before. So maybe they try to press it up there. If they crack the open, there's definitely mechanical sellers in the market today for sure. We've seen them selling. You know, they were selling the 69 quarter pretty well, and then that 68 half pretty well also. Mechanical
Long.
below. Looks like they're flipping there. So they were
Yeah,
selling that. What's that, Roach?
I just bought it. But I'm getting
Nice.
taking a little heat here.
Yeah, you saw a decent bounce. It kind of looks like short-term traders kind of maybe have flipped, and they were selling this 69 quarter, and that time they bought it. Interesting there. I figure we do trade the open here.
Yeah, I'm
A lot
trying
of
to
buyers
get
kind
one
of.
off.
What's that?
Trying to get one off here. There it is. Got one off, so that's good. A little iffy there.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the buyers kind of poured in right there. It looked like they flipped because we saw it like just tag and bounce quick. Not quite to the open. They got to the quarter there.
Yeah, I flattened out. I flattened the second one out. I got one off. Too much of a struggle.
Yeah, I chicken shitted out. When it kept coming back to me, I did the same thing, but I bailed at 71.50 from 70.
That's a good. What'd you get? 6 ticks? That's good.
Yeah.
I don't know what you were looking for, but that's all I look. I like to just get one off, and then after that, if it don't go, I just.
Well, I was looking for it to just break above the VWAP, and when it just hesitated and came back and then went back up to it, I was like, time to get out.
Could always get in again.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Not here. Don't chase it, but.
Oh, there we go. I'll be back, guys.
I'm like Aladdin today. Got your bread, motherfucker.
Hey, Brad.
It's okay.
Hey, did you see that Gary Gensler applied to work for Binance back in 2019 as an advisor?
Yeah, he
Interesting.
also taught like a class on blockchain at MIT back in the
Yeah, I
day.
knew that.
Yeah.
But now I'm going after Binance. It's just interesting. I mean,
Well, it's an
I guess he
easy
didn't think
target
it was
because
not like,
Binance is not an American company. So that's an easy target.
well,
Drive out the
it's no
competition.
target. I don't even understand. And, and there, he made a bunch of or in part of the lawsuit that a bunch of these tokens are securities, and he listed by U.S. U.S. I guess it's USTTB as one of them. That makes no sense because the first thing of the Howey test is that it has to be something that you assume is going to make profit, and stablecoins don't make profit. Well, he's saying it's the interest on the, it's the interest on the stablecoin that's making the profit, but the interest isn't paid from the token. It's paid by Binance. It's like saying that the dollar makes interest. You know what I mean? I don't know. It makes no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah,
makes sense.
like, I mean, but it's all in an effort to maintain control.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I think it's all about the CBDCs. I think that's what it's ultimately about. And the thing is that they didn't list XRP or Ethereum in that list of tokens that are securities, which is interesting also. Because if they had named the XRP was security and then they lose the lawsuit, well then none of the other ones that they named are securities, because the judge is going to say, well, XRP wasn't a security, then how are these other ones securities? I would think. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's the whole issue with Coinbase too, because I'm flat on that position, guys. That's the whole issue with Coinbase, is because they like documented all of their stuff, like everything, and the SEC approved them to become a public company, and now that they're a public company, they're going after all of the things that they approved before, saying that they were good. The whole thing with Solana too, like, so the SEC just came out and said Solana's not a commodity, and it's like, well, why is it not a commodity now all of a sudden when before it was completely fine?
Right. And I guess even Robinhood tried to get licensed for like 18 months or something and couldn't, and I don't know. They're definitely doing this shit on purpose to try to ruin crypto, I think. Oh boy. I don't know.
Well, did you see Robinhood took Solana off their platform?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, you
That's
can't even.
interesting.
Yeah, they took it off.
That's probably why Solana took such a dip.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
I think it went down to like 18 or something.
I thought it was like down to 5.
No, was it? Let me look.
No, I could be wrong.
Let's see.
Oh no, it was 18. Maybe I was thinking 5%.
Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking 5%. Yeah, because they got beat up pretty
Yeah.
bad. All right, guys, I'll be back. I got to head to my appointment. Feel free to chat, right, Roach, if you're here. I expect you to steer the ship while I'm gone. My dad
Yeah,
as well,
Roach.
if he's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Can help steer the ship. Um,
Might be off.
I'll
Hey, don't crush
co-pilot.
don't crush it in an iceberg.
I say we might go off course.
just run through right through the iceberg. It'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry about it.
All right, I'll be back, guys.
Just a bunch of snow.
There's the D low and the B low. Yeah, 80. That's what I was thinking too. 84 quarter, 83. And then you got singles down there, right? I don't know how comfortable I'd be short though.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be long and put my stop at like 82, no, 84, 83 and a half.
Right below 85 now, really, because
Yeah,
they got stuck right here on this 85 quarter. 86. I don't know.
What's up, guys?
It's tough to get long. Tough to
there
get
he
short.
is. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
I would find it hard to get short right here.
Yeah. Tough to get long too, because we're pretty long in the tooth all the way up here now. We ran all the way
Right.
up.
Right. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I was kind of trying to get long almost this whole run up. It just won't come back enough for me to be comfortable. If I just powered in, yeah, but you don't know, you're buying a high.
Well, I did say that we were gonna go to 90, so.
Yeah, but
You're getting
what if
you're getting the same thing with the weighted AD here. Like you're getting like a complete like rotation where you have the unweighted is coming down here below 0, but the weighted is staying positive. It's like the opposite of yesterday. And this is an anomaly here because I've never seen this before. Like where the weighted stayed positive all day and the unweighted was basically negative all day. And today we have the unweighted negative where the weighted is pretty much positive for most of the day.
doesn't that tell you that the smaller caps are having